If, like me, you're one of those people that doesn't sleep well and doesn't do a lot of exercising, then this week's episode is for you. I'll be talking about a recent study that looks at that very thing. I'm Jay, and this is Somnilopod. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I'm glad you joined me. I've talked a lot in recent episodes about the role that exercise can play in our ability to get a good night's sleep. And I was lucky enough to run across an article, a recent article, that I think can help sort of shed some light onto the importance of that connection. Now, this study is from the University of Sydney, and it was published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine. And what they did, they looked at around 400,000 middle-aged people. And that's why this study stuck out to me, because it was talking about my people. But it looked at a large number of middle-aged people over an extended period of time. It was an 11-year period of time. Gender-wise, it was almost split in half. It was 55% women, 45% men. So it's a fairly comprehensive look at a population. And what they did, they wanted to be able to categorize their ability to get a good night's sleep as healthy sleep, intermediate sleep, or poor sleep. So they used some criteria, things like insomnia, snoring, sleep duration, daytime sleepiness, and they were able to categorize people into one of those three categories. They also wanted to look at their exercise level to see whether it was high, medium, or low, and whether they reported no moderate to vigorous exercise at all. And I should point out, I'm using the word exercise, but the study points out physical activity. I think that is probably an interesting distinction there. But what they did, looking at these different categories and comparing their exercise levels, they looked at mortality rates in that population as a result of all causes, cardiovascular disease, some coronary heart disease, and cancers. So they looked to see over time, over that 11-year period, how these people did with regard to their level of sleep, level of exercise, and ultimate mortality. What they found was interesting. You probably are a little bit aware of this or ready to hear it. It's probably nothing new, but 57% of the people with poor sleep and low levels of physical activity had a higher chance of overall mortality. 57% higher risk. That increased to 67% of a higher risk in those patients having death related to cardiovascular disease. So that one kind of struck home for me as well. And then finally, 91% had a higher risk for death from lung cancer. Now that's comparing those people with poor sleep, poor exercise habits to those with good sleep and high exercise habits. So there is some room to move within those categories a little bit. I wanted to have a look and just talk about a lot of these types of studies recommend light exercise, moderate exercise, intense exercise. So I wanted to give you all a little bit of an idea of what they mean by that. What they consider a moderate effort to be is going to vary on a couple of things. One example I saw suggested that at about 100 steps per minute would be a moderate effort. And they compared the beat of the Bee Gees song "Staying Alive" and said that beat is compatible with 100 steps per minute. So load that up onto your phone and give that a listen. Also, they recommended that you could use the talk test to determine whether your exercise level is moderate or intense enough. And basically, if you can carry on a conversation, especially it will have a little bit of effort, but you should still be able to carry on a conversation in a moderate exercise effort. And finally, they suggested that you compare it to hurrying to a meeting. I just can't get away from work. But the amount of that exercise is considered to vary between 20 to 30 minutes a day for it to be maximally beneficial for us. So I'm going to issue us the first Somnilopod challenge. I am going to suggest that we all get 20 minutes over the next week of moderate exercise. And then I want to hear from you. I want you to send me an email, j@somnilopod.com. Let me know how your week goes. I'll report back about how my week does. I'm recording on Sunday, so it's a good day to start. So we will touch base again in the future, and I hope this episode has been entertaining and interesting for you. Please consider following me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the Yahoo. The YouTube channel is going a little slower than I anticipated, but I'm starting to get some stuff up there. So until then, please do your best to make sleep a priority, and I will talk with you again soon.